Hello everyone, my name is Shubhajit and today we will be discussing about the best practices while coding in React and using the useState hook. We will also discuss about the error-prone areas a new developer can make while using the useState hook in React. So let's get started. On the UI, you are able to see that we have this button which is sorry on the UI we have a button on which you can see that it's printed you pressed me 0 times. Let me also show you the component in VS Code how it looks like. Let me clear it up. Yeah, so here you can see that we have a basic component having a button which has a click handler. So whenever this button is clicked, this handle click function will be called, and this handle click function will be printing the it will be setting the count to count plus 1, that is incrementing it by 1, and then we are console logging the count. I should say that this video actually assumes that you have a basic knowledge of useState and how it works, its syntax, the signature. If you don't know, then I would highly recommend you to see the useState hook video which is already present in the channel. I will also put it in the description. You can have a look, understand what it does, and then you can come back here and continue. So let's get started. So you can see that we have inside this handle click we have a set count to count plus 1, and then we are console logging the count. So what comes to your mind that what should be the value of this console log whenever we are printing? So here we are setting the count to count plus 1. So let's say initially the count is 0, right? So setting the count to count plus 1 will make the count to 1. So printing it should be 1 only. Now let's see on the UI what it is. When I press this, uh, on console log it should be 1 according to what we said. But it is 0, but here the count has become 1 only. What happened? Let's investigate. So React, what it does is, whatever the state updates are there, it takes in batches. So it will actually wait for the whole function to end. That is, after this console log statement and the function has ended, then it will see that what all has happened in this function. If there is a set inside this function, then what will happen is it will actually trigger a re-render. A component re-render happens, and it will make the count to count plus 1, and then it will paint the UI with the new value of count. But here we are console logging the count just after writing the set count. So in whenever line 8 is actually running, the count variable is still 0, because React will wait for this function to end before triggering a re-render, because in the next render only the updates which have to happen actually happens. Okay, hope you have understood this. Now let's make it more interesting. What should be the output now? So now what we are doing, we are actually setting the count to count plus 1, setting the count to count plus 1, setting the count to count plus 1. So basically use state is 0 initially was there. So whenever we press this button, the expected behavior according to a lot of people should be, okay, here it becomes 1, here it becomes 2, here it becomes 3. Okay, and console.log count should be 3. But I have just explained you that, right? That what happens in these cases, React will batch these updates and the count will only be updated in the next render. So presently whenever we do console.log count, it will be 0 again for the first time. Okay, but we also have to see that what will be shown on the UI. Accordingly, it should be 3, but let's see what actually happens. So let me refresh the screen. Initially it's 0, Whenever you press this, console log should be 0 and it should be 3, right? Let's see it should be 3 or not. See, it is 0, but you see this is 1. Have you seen that? This is, you pressed me 1 times, but we have analyzed that it should be 3 times. Let's see what happened then. Okay, so React doesn't work this way. So whenever we have done set count to count plus 1, set count to count plus 1 and set count to count plus 1, basically what React has taken inside is like this. Set count to count plus 1. What is count? Count is 0. So count plus 1 is 1. Okay. Now again set count to count plus 1. Okay. Again set count to count plus 1. So count is actually 0 only. It has not increased to 1. As I have told you, because the console.log count is 0 only. So every time we are doing count plus 1, it is actually set count to 1. So whatever number of times we do this, at the end React knows that it has to make the count to 1 only. So that's why you are able to see that, okay, here it is, you pressed me 1 times. It happened 3 times, might be the set count, but it's making the set count to 1 only. How many number of times it does, at the end it will be 1 only. So how to achieve what we want? Many of us here are maybe thinking about, okay, why don't we just do set count of count plus 3? That is a different thing. What I'm trying to explain is you should be actually not falling into these type of traps where you think, okay, it should be count plus 3 by writing is 3 times, but it's actually happening 1 time. So what has actually happened here? I have told you, because the count variable is 0 only, so it will be incremented by 1 because set count to 1 only. Now, what is the best practice? A best practice is to use an updater function. What will an updater function do? Updater function, how it looks like, I will tell you. So let's say cnt and cnt plus 1. So this is an updater function. Okay. So who doesn't know about arrow functions in React, such type of arrow signs, they should first learn it, that it's what it is basically. It is taking the in present count and it is making it to count plus 1. This function is this, okay, and we are actually passing this function inside this set count now, not an actual value. Initially we were trying set count to count plus 1, that is set count of 1 we are passing, but here we are passing the whole function. So whenever React actually batches these all three set counts for for updates, what it will see while it is computing that, you should see that. So initially count is 0 and what it is returning, 0 plus 1, that is 1. Okay, now it is taking it as function, that's why now it is taking the count as 1. It's not only count plus 1, you have to understand this difference. I know it is a bit confusing here. Set count to count plus 1 is just a value. Having count is equals to 0 initially, it is actually this statement only when it is going for update. Set count to 1, just normal value, but here it is dynamic. If you see, count to count plus 1, whatever the count is, count plus 1, and we are passing a function to set count. So whenever that React is actually processing these set counts, it will see that there is an updater function. So this thing is dynamic actually. Okay, so when it comes to the second line, the count is 1 here, because set count whatever is passed is actually the present value, but as the functions are passed and these all three are inside, let's say they are now processing, so the first line processes 0 to 1, it becomes, now the second line processes 1 to 2, it becomes, third line processes, now the present value of count is 2, so 2 to 3 it becomes. But if you try to print this console.log count in this function, whenever the function is running, the count is still 0. But as we are passing the updater functions, you should understand this very clearly. We are passing updater functions or we are passing only values. They do make a lot of difference because this is dynamic, and these will actually take the values based on the previous value. Okay, whatever has updated, as you have seen, as you will see now in the UI. Okay, let me go to the UI and show you. I've refreshed them all. Now pressing this should make it, you pressed me 3 times, but console.log it should be 0 only. I think you got it. You pressed me 3 times, 0 only. Good. So you have to keep this thing in mind, that using an updater function is a good practice. Okay. Now let's go to the next thing, which is updating objects and arrays in state. Okay. For that, I actually need to create a create an input element. Okay, so let me code it out. First time in this video I'm coding it out something. Okay, so the UI should be something like input element. Okay, okay, input. What should be there? Input type is equals to text, and let's have an on change handler. What we will do whenever it is triggered on change some event. Okay, set, and okay, okay, it should be set name only, but okay, according to me it is better that if we have a separate function for that. We should have a separate function for that, right? Handle change. Okay, handle change is not defined. Let's define it. Handle change is equals to, okay. And then what should we do? We should actually set the name. Okay, for that, let's also create a state variable. What I am trying to explain you here is how we will update arrays and objects when they are present as state variables. So let's say name. Okay, name, and we have set name, and inside this use state, initially we will be using an object whose first name is empty and last name is empty. Got it? So we have an object having f name and l name as the key whose values are both empty. So the name presently is an object having f name as empty string and l name as empty string. Got it? Okay. And inside this handle change, okay, inside this handle change, I think because this f name and l name are different. Okay, let's actually, for your understanding, this input is only the first name. Also give it a label. Okay, HTML for, let's leave it for now. Okay, first name. Okay, this is the thing. Now something has happened. We should set the name. But what we should set the name? Before set name, what we will try to do? Okay, name is a state variable, right? We just need to change the name dot f name. Let's do it. Name dot f name is equals to And we know that whenever on change handler is there, its value is present is in e.target.value. So name.fname is this, and then we can just set the name as this name. Okay, right? You feel it is fine? Let's see. First name is there. Let me refresh. Okay, now see. Okay, I should also uh, print this or not. Let me give a second. So set name, we are giving it to name dot f name I'm doing. So I'm actually, yeah, and okay, yeah. So what was happening here? Value is equals to f name. Yeah, it was not a two-way data binding, it was only one-way data binding. Might be due to that. Okay, now you are able to get the warning. That's why I was worried that why I'm not getting the warning here. So you can see here a component in is counter changing an uncontrolled input to be controlled. This is likely caused by the value changing from undefined to defined value. It should not happen. Decide between using controller or undefined input. Okay. Okay, let me refresh this now and see what is happening. Now I am actually typing the things, but I am not able to see anything in the first name. Why it is happening? It is happening because the state is not only changing, because the way of changing the state is not this. This is the wrong way of changing the state. We can't mutate the state. We can't mutate the state like this. We have to create a new object. We have to change that object according to our need, and then we should set name to that object. Let me show you what I am saying. I am saying that const new name is equals to, if you are not aware about spread operator, you should go and check that out how I'm doing that. So spreading the out the name means whatever the f name and l name, it will be here, okay, presently. And after that I am just changing the value of f name to e.target.value. So this line what actually it does, if I say in simple words, is whatever the value of L name, let it be L name only, and the F name is changed to e dot target dot value. That's it. We are just changing. So in previously before this, I have written right name dot F name is equals to something. It's same as that, just that we are not changing the name now. We are actually creating a new object with that change and storing it at new name. And now I will set the name with this new name. Now it should work, and this is name.fname. That is fine. Okay, now let's see what happens. Let me refresh. Now I'm able to print the things out, and this is a good practice. And this you should understand that we should not be uh, mutating the actual state variables. We should create a new state variable. Sorry, we should create a new object and then make the change and make it and set it to the set state variable, whatever it is. Okay, then set that variable. Okay, same goes for arrays. Let me say that, okay, this name is, let's say, to do's and set to do's. Okay, and this is not an object now. This is an array, empty array. So to do's is an empty array. Okay, now what are we saying? Okay, so let's what can we do with that if you want to use an array? Let's erase all this. Let's remove this. Let it be add to do. Okay, and let's have an input. Okay, so this is to do. Okay, now let's make a single to do. This is for the input, you should understand. Okay, use a state, and initially it is an empty string. That is fine. Input type is text, value is equals to single to do, and on change handler we have, and we will do set single to do to so e, and we will set the single to do to, but your target dot value. Okay, now it's good. Now whenever I also have to have a button which says add to do, and this button should have an on click handler handle add to do click. That should be fine. I have to create a function. Okay, so const handle add to do, and this should be whatever we have in our single to do, it should be pushed to the to-dos list. So what you might be thinking, to-dos dot push single to do done, and then set to-dos to to-dos, right? And the coding is taking a bit of time, but please bear with me for this. Const handle change is there or not? Okay, on change handle is not required because I have actually set it here only, so this function is not at all required. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, this is totally fine, and yeah, I should also do one thing, that I should show the to-dos length, not the to-dos length. It would be better if I show the to-dos. Okay, yup. So to-dos dot map single to-do, and then I will be returning an li. So li, and this li should be containing the to-do, and that should be it, and key should be to do. Okay, yeah, so just ignore all these things. Just you should understand that it will traverse through all the to-dos, and each of the to-do will be a list element. That is it. I should also wrap it inside an unordered list, and yeah, I think this is it. Let me format the document. Yeah, and we should be good to go. Let's see. Add to do. Okay, run, adding the to do. Nothing happened. See, walk. On pressing add to do, nothing happened. But after that, it is happening. Why this type of weird behavior is there? Why? Because we are pushing into the to-dos. We are changing the state variable, which should not be done like that. It should be something like const new to-dos is equals to dot dot dot, the same dot operator thing, and then into that we will be adding a new to-do, that is single to-do, and we will be setting the to-dos to this new to-dos. Okay, now it has created a whole new array with this, and the new to-dos is not like to-dos is not mutated, and the new to-dos is created, and the set to-dos are set to the new to-dos. So that is the ideal best practice which you should follow. Now you should not see any lag in this to-dos, adding of to-dos. So run, whenever I press add to-do, it should be shown here. Can you see? Yeah. Walk, add to-do. Can you see? Yeah. Then what can we say? Heat. I'm writing all basic things. That is fine, but you understood the concept. So this is the main thing, and I hope you have actually gained a lot from this. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. I will be very happy to help there. So all the best guys for learning with React. Thank you.